everything has two sides of the coin, right? And actually, if I look at a lot of companies that have been extremely successful because of the instability, right? So you're mentioning now Syria, etc. And I think now Syria is becoming more open. But a lot of companies have been kind of tech companies that started in Syria. They were protected because there was no opening of the country, right? So no one wanted to kind of go in. We spoke earlier about Kaspi also, which is just came from Kazakhstan. Told me incredible company that built a $2 billion net income per year business out of the lack of available payment methods like MasterCard and Visa rails and stuff like that. So I think that everything has a bit of two sides of the coin, and I think we usually are not scared about these kind of situations, and we tend to look more at the opportunities rather than the challenges in these situations.
And I guess, Khaled, final, your take on this, you kind of introduced this question of the dynamics locally being a bit different than they are everywhere else. Could you see essentially increasingly the needs of the region in terms of this ecosystem, startups, the later stage, all of it being, in spite of what you said, which is it would be good if foreign investors were involved. It's a good discipline. It's also connective. But could you see it essentially being, it's not an island, a big island in a global, a calm island in a global storm?
Yeah. No, I think the way I think about it is more as if, if you want to create like a historical analogy, I think the region is creating its own Marshall Plan to redevelop their economies and their societies, driven by the GCC at its core. And then helped by these other kind of trends like demographics, which 10 years ago we used to say, oh, the region suffers from a youth bulge or a demographic tightening, but now it's actually the opposite compared to the rest of the world. The fact that all the economies are dollar-denominated, or particularly the GCC, and you have enough wealth built up here to kind of drive that change. So as I chart the next sort of 20 years, I think this is the Middle Eastern moment. I think the next 10, 15 years, assuming there are no crazy externalities, which who knows, I think this is our moment. This is the same as post-war Europe, post-war Germany particularly, post-war Japan. I think of the emergence of Singapore and Southeast Asia, and I think about the emergence of Korea after the Korean War. We did not have as dramatic a dislocation as those types of wars, but we had a slow sort of drip of conflict, of insecurity, that's now just changing, and then aided by this massive growth in kind of technological innovation, entrepreneurship, reshaping these economies. So I want to say the next 10, 15 years are going to be the moment the Middle East emerges.
That is a great way to end it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for Talabat bringing your own audience. And it's the moment. Thank you all.